If you could live forever, would you?
Yes.
Okay, we're done on the interview.
Finish the sentence.
Yes. No. Okay. Sure. That's an attractive idea, but the way I look at it is the knowledge that I'm going to die that creates the focus that I bring to being alive. The urgency of accomplishment, the need to express love now, not later. If we live forever, why ever even get out of bed in the morning? Because you always have tomorrow. That's not the kind of life I want to lead.
But why don't you fear not being around?
I fear living a life where I could have accomplished something and didn't. That's what I fear. I don't fear death.
You don't fear the unknown.
I love the unknown. I love the. You know what I want on my tombstone? My sister has this in her notes, just in case I can't tell anyone after I die. On my tombstone, a quote from Horace Mann, great educator. Be ashamed to die until you have scored some victory for humanity.
Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel HEX. Today I'm talking to the Magic Carpet Ride 369 team about their amazing protocols that will bring a lot of things to the Hexican ecosystem that we can utilize to protect the price, protect ourselves, but most important, make more hex. And this is what the stream is all about today. In order to pick you all up and give a good elevator pitch, I have a little video here prepared for you. So let's play that, and then we bring the crew up right away.
Welcome to Magic Carpet Ride, a community dedicated to making hex staking accessible to everyone. Staking hex on Ethereum is a fantastic way to earn high yield, but the high gas fees and the Ethereum price often make it difficult for small stakers to participate. In many cases, the cost of unstaking is greater than the yield received, causing many participants to worry about the future transaction fees and Ethereum price. Introducing Stakehouse, a fully trustless hex staking protocol that makes staking hex accessible to everyone on Ethereum. Collaborate with other Hexicans, pool your stakes, and split gas fees to make it more affordable for everyone to participate. Plus, the larger the pool, the bigger pays better bonus. Best of all, there are no middlemen or admin keys to worry about, giving you peace of mind while you stake. Stakehouse is versatile. Anyone can create a pool, and Stakehouse will automatically post it on Twitter for all to see and join. This is a great introduction to the Hex community and helps decrease gas costs and increase the bigger pays better bonus for all. Stakehouse can also be used to create a new rung on the staking ladder for those who have heard about staking ladders but don't have enough Hex to start. Stakehouse pools can be used to teach new community members about this powerful strategy. Even whales can benefit from Stakehouse by working with smaller hex holders to max out the 150 million hex bigger pays better bonus. Hex on Ethereum is far from dead, and Magic Carpet Ride is doing its part to make sure hex staking is accessible to everyone. Join our mission too, #HexTogether, and start staking hex today with Stakehouse. Visit 0xstakehouse.io today.
I think that was a great elevator pitch to get everybody exciting for the stream today. And this is exactly what we will be talking about. Extrovert, Triple Dead, how's it going?
Great. How are you, bud? Nice to see you.
Great to have you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for the amazing tools that you are building. But we on our channel have a lot of no-coiners, a lot of people that are new to Hex, and they want to obviously know who is Magic Carpet Ride 369. Can you maybe talk a little bit about the team and what is the long-term vision that you guys have?
You want to take that one, Ty?
No, you're always good with the intros of MCR.
Okay. So Magic Carpet Ride started as it was Ty's channel. And we were trying to figure out what we could do for the community. Ty and I met with a bunch of other guys in the Pulse main chat, right when the sacrifice was about to go live. We were talking about it. We were there when it went live, everybody running around, dumping money into PulseChain, right? And soon after that, we stayed in that PulseChain main chat, which was unbelievable. You were a topic of conversation often in there. But there was a lot of people who had questions, and those questions needed to be answered in a way that was you could send a link, right? So Ty started doing security videos with Papa B. I started doing bridging videos and change now videos to show people how they can turn their BNB into Hex and take away a little bit of the friction there as far as fees, and that's how we got started.
All right. And you obviously have recognized that there is a big problem with Hex staking, right? The Ethereum network is just so congested. So many people are doing stuff on Ethereum, and this leaves out stakers sometimes not worth ending their stakes. And Stakehouse solves that. I would say this should be the first product that we are talking about today. But to give everybody a little bit of time to, learn about what Magic Carpet Ride 369 is all about, to just come into here and get everybody excited. Let's talk a little bit about the exciting things that are going on right now in the Hex ecosystem. Like one big thing that everybody talks about right now is that we are not stakers anymore, that we are now miners. How do you guys scope with this topic?
So I want to give it's an interesting topic. I think Richard is the master of marketing. It's got everybody not only inside the community, but outside of the community talking, putting all eyes on Hex, on Richard. So who knows, he's steps ahead. So who knows what he's got planned or why he did this, but I think, he does everything with purpose. So this has been discussed ad nauseum in the Hex all day spaces, which Famous runs. He runs that nearly 24/7, does an amazing job. And so it's been discussed for hours and hours a day. And if you actually want to get super technical, we're not stakers, we're not miners, we're not publishers. We're actually minters, and we're actually scheduling mints. And when they mature, we burn them when we schedule the mints, and we actually mint them back into existence by the contract when it's matured. And that narrative is come from Famous, and he got that from reading the entire contract and looking. So the words in there are more for humans to understand what's going on, because they understand stake, but the actual function that's actually doing the action is _mint. So credit goes out to crypto, to Famous. He's an amazing asset in this community. He spends hours and hours and hours a day in spaces educating. And out of all the narratives that are going around right now, I think it's the one that makes the most sense.
Oh, yeah, 100%. And actually, that's a great perspective that you had there. First of all, with the word minting, that, people got crazy that they would say in the contract, it says staking. So now Richard Hart is taking away the staking. Everybody was freaking out. Why? I didn't even know that in the contract, it also says minting, that the function is really called minting. But what I wanted to point out is that Richard Hart changed his bio, right? We can go all the way up here. And I was like confused a couple of days ago when I saw saw that there's no Ferrari anymore, there's no Rolex anymore, none of the mention of 27 million that got donated and so on. And HEX was missing as well. And just recently, he added HEX.com as well, because the people were furious. They thought he would abandon HEX, he would abandon PulseChain, but the opposite is actually the case. I'm 100% with you here that he changed from staking to minting, because now that got the whole crypto space talking about what he is doing, got them crazy, and this again brought all the eyes to HEX. So I think it was a brilliant move.
I would agree with that.
100%.
You guys are just as excited about PulseChain as I am, and you guys are also waiting for almost 2 years now since we know that PulseChain is going to be a thing. Since this time, a lot of things has happened, right? First of all, a couple of months ago, Richard was not active at all. He didn't give us any updates. He was really, really quiet on social media. But now we see a different Richard, right? He changed his marketing strategy, and now he's also really active on social media. Almost every day he gives us some kind of updates, and almost every day he is on GitHub also logging in. What do you make out of that? You guys are developers. Maybe you can give us a little bit more of insights. What do you make of this behavior?
So just to be clear, we're not developers in the sense of like we don't do the code. It's we come up with the ideas, and then we spend months and months and months talking to smarter people than ourselves and our devs about what is possible and what's not possible. So we don't actually do the coding, but we do a lot of other things. Look, the Richard right now, to me, seems super focused. We've been saying for ages, when people say they don't like the outrage marketing, I'm like, well, maybe you'll like what he does next. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, this is just part of his journey. He will pivot again. And the next pivot, you may love that one. And from what I hear in Telegram rooms and on spaces, everyone loves the Richard that is doing what he's doing right now.
A lot of people were asking questions, though, right? Did you post a childhood photo underneath his pictures?
Today I did a stream, and I used Richard Hart's childhood picture on my thumbnail for sure. Yeah.
It was pretty cool to see all the Hexicans in this community's pictures. The funding gym picture was classic. I loved that. That was so funny. I like what he's doing now. I wasn't a super big fan of the Gucci and the Prada and all that good stuff. I did like the sparkly shoes; those were pretty cool. But it's just like when we're doing these streams to try to get our message out. I talked to you about this before we came on. Your audience is different than Funding Jim's audience, is different than Rags's audience, is different than Jim Rat Crypto's audience, and so he's switching it up to go after different targets, and I think it's brilliant.
Oh, 100%.
He's just trying to break through the noise, right? He's just trying to break through the noise, which he stated many times. And so he uses different tactics, and he changes because doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result is crazy. And he knows this better than anyone. So he reinvents himself and changes the narrative and pivots. And that's how he keeps growing this amazing community.
I think Richard Hart said once that in the bear market, it is perfect to have outrage marketing because the prices are going down anyways, right? Because of the overall market situation. And why not at least have as many eyes as possible on HEX with the outrage marketing? And now it seems like the bear market is over. Richard also said that he will stop bragging about calling the top when when the bottom is in. And now what he did, he was taking away his pinned post, which was bragging about calling the top. So maybe this is, a sentiment of Richard that we actually reached the bottom. I think that's really interesting. But all of this leads us to the next topic, which is Stakehouse and 0x Bistro, the protocols that you guys are building. So let's jump into this topic. Let's start with Stakehouse first. Why did you guys design it? Why do you think there is a need for such a protocol?
So we're Hexicans, and I unstaked a bunch of HEX, paid $500 in gas fees. That was the impetus of this type of protocol. And then about this time last year, we started tossing ideas around, Ty and I and a couple of other people, of things that we might want to build. We had established a community that was asking us to build a token. Just put a token out there, and we didn't want to do that. Our products that we're going to release are going to have a market fit. They're going to fit niches that are not yet addressed. And Steakhouse Hex gas issues on Ethereum was number one on the list. I think we can address that. So we started coming up with ideas on how to do that, and we came up with some a pooling option that was self-directed.
Yeah, self-directed is the important part. So it's really just another front end that interacts with the Hex smart contract with a few variables before it interacts directly with the native staking contract. And so it just allows people to interact with the contract themselves, stipulate the terms of how long they want a pool open for, like to initiate a pool from 1 day to 30 days. And then once that pool closes, it'll be staked for the period that they've also nominated when they initiated the pool. So whether it's 1 day or 5555 or anywhere in between, as designed by the Hex smart contract.
And we have similar products already with Maximus, with the perpetuals, right? There it is that somebody has to pay the unstaking fee, and then everybody can just claim their hex. How is it working with Stakehouse? Is it similar? Because I think in the video I saw that it is just divided up by all participants.
Yeah, we won't go into the super technical aspect because we want to protect that IP. But in a nutshell, that the problem is solved in the contract. And it is divided by the participants in the pool. So there's no trusted entity that you need someone to do it and hope someone helps them pay it back or any of that type of stuff. We wanted it to be in the ethos that Richard has taught us from start to finish. So there are public call functions and there is incentives to call those functions. And then the people in the pool share in the end state gas fee. It's pretty simple. Obviously, there's some mechanics under the hood that a bit like having an iPhone, right? Like people know how to use an iPhone, but they don't know what's inside, how it actually does what it does. So there's a few things there we just want to keep tight-lipped for now on the functionality of the technical side of that, because it is a competitive space. But in a nutshell, what you said is correct. We're sharing it and it's built in.
It's very compatible. And if you guys would not come up with this product, somebody else down the road would do that for sure, like in the next couple of years. And I rather have it done by Hexicans for Hexicans, just like you're doing it. But, saving on gas fee is only one side of the benefits that you're getting. What is another benefit? I guess we can now talk about the bigger pays better bonus.
So the bigger pays better bonus is awesome, right? That maxes out at 150 million hex and 10%. So this isn't just a protocol designed for people with small bags. This is something that could be used by whales, like God Whale or whomever, staking 50 million hex for 45 days and then scraping that interest and doing it again and again and again. We watch this guy on the Hex Whale bot all the time do the same thing over and over multiple times a year. If that gentleman or lady, whoever that is, decided to stake that hex in our protocol, and they were only at, I say only because that sounds crazy, but they were only at 50 million hex. If he opened a pool with that 50 million hex, our experience is he will be surprised on how many people jump into that pool with him, and he could get pushed up to the maximum 10%. We helped facilitate sacrifice pools for PulseChain, for liquid loans, and all these other projects that are launching on the Richard Hart ecosystem. Those pools, you would invariably see a whale hop in, somebody with a big chunk of money, 6 figures. And soon after that, that sacrifice gets dwarfed. The next one gets dwarfed. But then if you take all of those big 6-figure plus sacrificers and count up all the little guys, the little $2,000 guys, the $100 guys, the guy that's DCAing out of B&B $50 a day, because we had that quite often, right? Those vastly outweigh those big bags, and it's a swimming with whales mentality. We're trying to let these little guys experience the same ROI as God whales staking for 45 days and 50 million hex. That's what our goal has been in the past with pools, and that's what our goal is with our products.
Yeah, and I think those community facilitated pools, we proved that coming together, that we're a lot stronger together. We decided last minute to do the PulseX one. I was driving away on Christmas holidays when these guys told me, hey, this is what we're doing. This is why we're doing it. And even though we started that on day one, so no preemptive, hey, we're going to do this. And so people had already obviously either sacked in another pool. We still managed to get a 2.15 multiplier for everyone in that community-driven pool. So whether you put in $100 or $1 million, you got a 2.15 multiplier. So it was just amazing for the little guys to be able to just get that little extra leg up. And then for liquid loans, well, we ended up in a friendly battle with Godwhale. We were doing quite well, and Godwhale laid the smack down on us and put up a big chunk. And everyone in the Telegram was a little bit demoralized, and we're like, guys, there's still like 5 days left before the bonding curve. I go, I really think we can do this. And slowly chipped away. Everyone was chipping away. And, we were doing streams every day. We're catching up. We added the Godwhale and said, thank you for pushing us out of our comfort zone. We're going to strive to be better. And everyone got on board. And then we passed Godwhale. And then when we passed Godwhale, there was this belief within the community, and they just started diving in, and we doubled it, got the number one spot with the highest multiplier for everyone in there.
Oh, wow.
We did have a multi-sender built to facilitate, so a trustless, smart contract multi-sender to facilitate that being sent out. It's been working well.
So you already have established a great community that does pooling together, and now it just makes sense to have this product. So we talked already about the gas fees. We talked about the saving of gas fees, that you make a bigger pays better bonus. And it's not only for the small guys, it's also for whales that could, take benefits from this. Are there maybe other benefits that we have not talked about or not even thought about yet? Maybe for the normal user would not maybe think about all of those things.
I used you as a benefit when I talk about this all the time on every stream. So actually when I was trying to sell this idea to this group of guys, right, this is what we should build first. I said, imagine ABIC going on his world tour, right, and starting a pool and being in middle America and talking to his waitress and onboarding her into Hex. Our app is going to be very, very social. You're going to have a lot of Twitter stuff embedded in that front page. We're going to have bots that populate a pool that ABIT may start, right? World Tour 2.0. That pool can stay open for 30 days while you're driving around, and we can onboard people into that pool. And Hexicans love that stuff. And people who are not dyed-in-the-wool Hexicans and just want to experience a larger yield would hop into that pool. And that would just divide the gas even more. And your bigger pays better bonus would increase. This is a onboarding tool, big time.
Yeah, we wanted to create the social stickiness because let's face it, even as amazing as Hex is, it's actually can be a little bit of a boring product. You buy it, you stake it. When you buy more, you stake it, or you save it and accumulate enough and you stake it and you create out a ladder. So most of the time we spend educating or doing stuff that's healthy in normal life. So this is going to change that up. It's going to make it very interactive, very social. We discussed with some people in the community about facilitating charities early on. So the marketing side of this is ridiculous. Like what people are suggesting they're going to do, and the ideas are just coming out of the woodwork. And that's going to keep the momentum flowing and people eyeballs on HEX, which is what we want. We want more people in this community looking at HEX, understanding HEX, and just breaking down the barrier to entry.
And you know what, guys? Sometimes it is like this, that you build a product and you have maybe this intention, but something else comes out of it, because I don't know if you realize that, but we have no incentive to talk about HEX, about all the other products. We talk about staking, but now I can open up a new community pool. And now I personally have the incentive to onboard people into this pool. And now this is great for everybody. So basically what you have programmed here is a referral link that we get that back, basically.
Correct. And what we're not doing is we're not doing referral links, right? We're creating pools, and your referral link basically is more people are going to come in and increase your bigger pays better bonus. And that's the referral link. We're not out there to get pool creators paid or anything like that. We've had people recommend that to us. That is anti-Richard Hart ethos, right? Referral links for Richard Hart, his shilling, the shilling of referral links is not high on his like list. Let's just put it that way.
Although he did have it built in at early days of HEX.
That's true.
Maybe he's updated his worldview. They're also included in this, just getting back to your original question a bit, the protocol will claim Hedron before the stakes mature as well, the day before. And that'll get dispersed as well between a high percentage of it dispersed to the stakers in that particular pool, and a percentage of it will go to the MCR token holders. And then we've gamified the end staking. So to try and promote someone to do the public call. So what happens with the public call is whoever does the public call, they're basically the ones that are entitled to get the reimbursement of the gas, but also to incentivize them, the first person. If you don't come back and claim your HEX in the first 7 days, a high percentage of the Hedron that they didn't claim goes to the person who did the public call. So what you're going to start to see is you're going to see people who may not even be in a pool do the public call because they're going to get reimbursed the gas, and they might pick up a whole lot of Hedron if people don't come back and get their HEX in the first 7 days.
Interesting game theory that comes out of it. And look who we have here. J Money is in the house as well. Man, how's it going?
Good. How are you, Abit? Good to see you, brother.
We are just starting to talk about your guys' amazing protocols that we have. And I want to remind everybody on stream right now, if you go down in the video description, you will find all the links that are important for today's stream, the Twitter account of Magic Carpet Ride, the link tree, where we will also go in a second, and then MCR369. So let's go to the Twitter first. You guys should definitely follow, because that's where you get the information first hand with no middleman involved here. The link tree is great. I love link trees because then you have all the links needed for whatever you need here in one place. And I want to go to Magic Carpet 369. Actually, we should also go to Stakehouse, but I have to open up a different tab, and then we can start talking about that. Just give me a little second here so we can actually also have the sound here. There we go.
You'll be able to play that one.
There's not too much going on yet because it is not released. So let me ask you this question. Is there already a release date, or how close are we?
When we started, once we launched our first stream, it was about 90 days. So obviously that's slowly coming back. So maybe we're at 80 days now.
All right, so not too long, and I think 80 days is totally in a good time, because PulseChain is probably not going to launch until then. But first, let's watch Richard's video, the video here of Richard Hart, what he has to say.
and I prefer to see Hex expensive on all chains. I don't prefer to see cheap Hex anywhere. So, you know, having Hex on 2 chains can be quite nice.
Young folks, you tripping on them motherfucker. Richard Hart. Bought my Hex from the fucking start.
Hex does have a point of failure. You know what it is? Gas fees. It's required. It runs on the Ethereum network. That's its point of failure. I did find it. I didn't like it at the beginning, and it did turn out to be a problem later. But that's Hex's only point of failure. Being realistic here.
Yes.
Now I'm checking on my pulse just to check my heart. Buy my Hex from the fucking start. Sacrificing all this bread like I'm Richard Hart. Got paid on big payday and I had a hit restart. Now I'm check mooning. Looking at why they be choosing. Peter is why they be losing.
Let's solve gas fees now, then worry about getting scale.
And I'm dying in the bus. Getting this back like a year ago. Getting this PulseChain lingo. Swerve on the ring like a Lambo. Getting this back like a year ago. Getting this PulseChain lingo. Swerve on the ring like a Lambo.
The SLID fees will be the same. However, the gas cost to pay for those fees will be way cheaper.
Now I'm checking on my pulse just to check my heart. Buy my Hex from the fucking start. Sacrificing all this bread like I'm Richard Hart. Got paid on big payday and I had a hit restart. Now I'm checking on my pulse.
How much are high gas fees hurting Hex price? It's hard to know. I mean, to some degree, people that might have sold won't sell because they can't get their coins because it's not cost effective for them to get their coins because the gas costs too much. But those are usually like smaller amounts. I really don't know. It's a good question.
Getting this back like a year ago. Getting this PulseChain lingo.
So maybe the last question that we just heard, how much does the Ethereum gas cost really hurt the Hex price? Because at some point, the Hexicans probably have to sell a little bit of Hex to end their stakes. Do you guys have already a better answer than what Richard Hart just said there?
Are you trying to suggest that we might be smarter than Richard?
No, but maybe you just did a little bit more of calculations and so on. For me, for example, Richard Hart asked all those questions. What is the average staking duration? What is the actual inflation in Hex? He doesn't know. He has no time to calculate that, but I do. So I thought maybe you guys were also doing some calculation. How much fees the Hexicans were paying in Ethereum that could have stayed in the Hex ecosystem, but now are distributed to the Hex to the Ethereum miners?
Well, I can tell you the correct answer is a lot.
Too much, yeah.
And we have a solution for that. The first solution is pooling the stakes and decreasing those gas costs across the people within that pool. And the second way is to take that MCR token and stake it. And when you stake that, you're accumulating Ethereum on Pulse. Ethereum on ETH on Ethereum and Pulse on PulseChain. So with the staking of that token on both chains, you will be building a bag of gas. And that's what we're trying to do. So it's quite possible that you have enough Ethereum to handle your percentage of that pool in perpetuity. It just depends on how you want to set this up.
And then the last part of what Richard Hart was just saying here, that at one point people will not end their stakes because it's not worth doing so. And then they cannot mint the Hex, and therefore they can also not sell the Hex. And just from your gut feeling, how much do you guys think is this often, thing?
That happens all the time. Happens all the time. Ty and I and J Money were in PulseChain main chat, and all the time there would be a guy that comes in and said, I just bought 5,000 Hex and I staked it, and just to get my feeling of how this thing works, and Hex is jacked because I can't even I didn't even make enough money because I had to pay so much in ETH. I didn't even have any yield. I lost money on this transaction. That's what we're trying to prevent. The barrier to entry gets lowered by 95%.
Also, at the same time, we wanted to we didn't want to overcomplicate the entire system, because in our experience, if something is too complicated and it's hard to explain and hard to understand, people just don't want to get involved. So we had to go with the whole keep it simple, stupid. We didn't want to go and add all this other stuff that you can do around it to then do this and get this and have that. And oh, by the way, you can do this. If it gets too confusing, people just go, my brain hurts. I'll just wait for PulseChain and that's it, you know? Yeah. So that's been our motto from the start. Let's just not try and overcomplicate it. Let's try not to get too clever. Let's just deal with the problem, create a solution, and act on some of the gamification that HEX offers in the bigger pays better. And obviously, Alex having an amazing ecosystem, it now offers free Hedron. So we're like, let's do that.
And obviously, when Richard Hart was talking about let's solve the gas problem, he was talking about PulseChain, but you are solving it right now on the Ethereum chain. But now a hater or a critic could say, why is this product needed on the PulseChain?
Sure. So obviously, initially, a different value proposition. The main value proposition difference on PulseChain at the start is going to be the bigger pays better and the Hedron. Okay. But when people started interacting with HEX, gas was cheap. Sure, gas is going to take a lot longer to get more expensive on Pulse, but if PulseChain is half as popular as everyone thinks it's going to be in the future, then in 6 to 10 years from now, it could be quite expensive in Pulse to unstake. So why not future-proof yourself while you're getting those other rewards?
100%. And then the third one is just like on the Ethereum one as well. It's basically incentivizing communities to make those pools because they have utilization out of that as well. And, you know, something that we have not talked about yet is because the Hexicans are saving gas cost that can now stay in the HEX ecosystem. So overall, I also believe it will be price positive for the HEX price in the future because Hexicans now don't have to sell HEX in order to unstake or, you know, to do stakes, which I think is really, really great.
100%. And people can take comfort in knowing that all of the self-directed pools staking HEX cannot be emergency end staked. So those stakes will go from start to finish to full maturity. There is no function in our system to emergency end stake. Okay. We will talk about the receipt token, which is your receipt when you initiate or enter a pool, and we'll talk to you about why we've done that and why that then created another issue that we solved by having the Bistro protocol.
And the Bistro protocol is now the next topic that I want to bring up because it's totally different than 0x Steakhouse, right? And now Bistro is a different protocol. Give us an elevator pitch of what it is and why was there the need to create it?
I'll take this one. When you come into 0x Steakhouse and create a pool, it's quite possible that that pool has doesn't have a Godwell participating in it, and the receipt token that you're issued is a 1-to-1 ratio with the HEX that you contributed. Okay, so if you wanted to sell part of your position or all of your position, the liquidity pools that we find on standard things like Uniswap or Matcha, whatever, right? Matcha is an aggregator. But the liquidity pools that we find out there on V3 and V2 of Uniswap, creating those pools and having enough liquidity in those pools to have a successful swap on a token that has few supply, you will experience a lot of slippage. So we've been thinking about this for over a year now, right? So the way we were able to put a solution out there that would handle that specifically for our token is let's have an OTC board for that token so people can actually get in and out of their positions and not experience slippage. And then we opened it to all or most ERC20s and PRC20s. So you'll be able to get in and out of positions when Ty uses this example all the time. When Rackham comes out and says, I want to buy a bunch of HEX, right? And he wants to do it in a trustless manner, and he wants to do an OTC deal with somebody. Now he can do it in a trustless fashion.
Without affecting the price.
Exactly. This is the next thing that I would say. Like normally somebody would have to maybe sell on Uniswap. Somebody else has to buy, you know, the price goes down and up. And now 0x Bistro avoids all of this. If you want to sell, you can find somebody who will take just then the whole amount without having any impact on the price. And I think that's also really, really great.
And that'll also be social. It'll be social as well. People will be able to post it up there, and that'll get populated by a bot to the Bistro page, and people will be like, oh, wow, that looks like a good deal. You know, we want to have a social stickiness and an automated system of notification, because we don't want people sitting in front of their computers all day waiting for a deal to pop up. We want them to just go about their daily thing, and they get a notification and they're like, oh, let me have a look at that. And then they can act on it.
Yeah, I'll put it in a little perspective as well. Is if you tried to build a liquidity pool for each one of these tokens, imagine there's 1,000 pools going, and you know however many people in each one of those pools is holding one of these receipt tokens, which is unique to that specific pool. So now you're talking about trying to find liquidity on a specific one of those pools, and there might be 1,000 of them. It's going to be nearly impossible to build any kind of liquidity pools on something like Uniswap. So that's where this OTC marketplace just gives you a place to go put those up for sale.
100%. And so there will be a small fee for doing the swap, but it's going to be far better than doing it the traditional way with no slippage. And that's the fee, like any fees generated in anything in our house of suites that we've got going or anything in the future. Everything we build will feed back to the MCR 369 token holders. So if they're staking that token, they can earn passive rewards in Ethereum, potentially HEX and definitely Hedron on Ethereum, and Pulse and the other two as well on PulseChain. So we know people like passive income. We know that they would love to just set it and forget it and come back, whether it's every 30 days or whatever it might be, to just claim their rewards. And then they can choose what they want to do with them. Maybe they'll save some of that and build up their gas position. Maybe they'll DCA back into HEX. That's what I'd be doing. But it's great to be able to have that facility where you're earning while you're sleeping.
And the MCR 369 token is the next topic that I want to go into. But since you mentioned the fees, I think that was a question from KSB line. How big is the fee for the 0x Bistro protocol?
We haven't actually set it, but it's going to be insignificant compared to anything you do anywhere else. So it will be far less expensive than trying to facilitate a swap. So the fee would be negligible. We're just mapping that out at the moment. We want to make it as low as possible, but so it makes sense for people to use it, as well as the MCR token holders to earn rewards and incentivize them to hold the MCR token.
Awesome. So right now I'm here on mcr369.io, and let's talk a little bit about this here. So we can first go into the about section, and here people can already read everything that it is about. Where should we start?
Well, yeah, just basically it has a brief outline of what the MCR369 token is about. Obviously, a little bit of a hype reel there, which people can go listen to. The music is great. We can't play the music in this stream because it will get a copyright infringement. So we won't play the sound, but we've had a professional guy build this and time the music, and it's really cool. We have some more coming. And then there's, like I said, on the right-hand side, it's a brief outline of the protocol. You'll notice there is a little bit of a mention at the bottom that we're not disclosing some of the attributes just due to the competitive nature of the market space. We want to keep some of that IP close to our chest, and we'll release it later. But basically, the people who choose to acquire this token and stake it, as you can see there in the different color writing, they're going to earn passive rewards in 3 different assets, and they're not more MCR token. Our token doesn't inflate. There's no burning mechanism. People could burn it if they want themselves, but there is no burning mechanism, no inflation mechanism. They simply stake it, and they will earn passive rewards from anything that we are building, because it'll all tie back into that token. Okay. The interesting thing about that, not hypothetically, I'll get onto the hypothetical bit. Because of that reason, the MCR token doesn't actually need to gain any value. It's actually a token that could sit at 1 cent for its entire life, and it wouldn't matter to your position in the staking pool to earn the rewards. What matters is how much of the token you own, because that's going to be how much percentage of your position in the pool, and that's how much of the percentage of the rewards you're going to get. And so that's really important to know. We know people will speculate on the price because we have a community that loves analytics, and there'll be analytics boards out there analyzing how much each token generates in revenue, and they'll put a price on it. So we know people who will speculate because that's what people do. But I just want to point out that it's actually irrelevant to what you're going to get in the terms of rewards. It's just about how much of that token you hold, which is quite an interesting concept.
All right, so we talked a little bit about the about section. The next one is the sacrifice, and I know that you guys are really transparent when it comes to this. Let's talk a little bit about that. Why is a sacrifice needed? Someone would say, why is it needed to collect the money from the community?
You want to get that one, TD?
Sure. So
be careful. Be careful.
Yeah. No expectation of profit from the work of others. The whole line that you hear every single time, right? So our sacrifice, because we have this restaurant theme going, is a sacrifice to eat what you want. We have Klaus Schwab coming on, telling us that we should all eat burgers made of crickets and stuff like that, right? And we're not down for that. So our sacrifice is a sacrifice to be able to pick and choose what you eat. The sacrifice, why we're going out to sacrifice, is we have a value associated with this token. That's just the bottom line. If you would like to participate in this protocol from a rewards basis, that takes effort from a lot of people to get that built, right? And that's basically the bottom line.
Yeah, there's obviously Richard Hart has pioneered this area, and it's done this way for a certain reason. So there's actually you can't really comment on. It's basically no expectations. You get rewarded in points. Hypothetically, those points might turn into something else down the track.
There are other projects out there that say they are not having a sacrifice, but if you're paying to get a token, that is essentially the same thing. If we had a dApp that cranked out MCR tokens as you dropped ETH into it, that is in essence a sacrifice, if you will.
Or an ICO. There's just different mechanisms and different strokes. Okay? So.
Same thing.
Oh yeah, I think we all believe in free markets, and everybody is, entitled to do whatever they want. A sacrifice, in my point of view, gives you the opportunity to be in something early that you believe in, obviously without the expectation of the work of others. But now what you can try to do is become a big player in the MCR 369 ecosystem, just like somebody could like to be a big player in the Hex Info ecosystem or in the Hex ecosystem even, right? If you have a lot of T-shares, you earn a lot of inflation. If you have a lot of MCR 369, then you earn a lot of fees from the protocols that you are generating. And I think the sacrifice is the most fair way in order to establish that and to distribute the coins. Because like you
gave
said,
a better explanation than I did. Thank you, Abe.
Because like you said, if you put the coins for sale, then you push the price against yourself while you are trying to dollar cost average in, for example. There are a lot of ways why a sacrifice might be needed for something.
It's just a fair distribution model of tokens. That's all.
But something that I saw here for the first time, or is it for the first time? I think I saw it before as well. But you have actually capped the sacrifice. What was the
Target.
reason to do that?
It's
It's a target. So we're not in this to leave the sacrifice open for the next 2 months and accumulate as much financial horsepower as possible. We know what we're building. We know the budgets, and that is a target. So once that target is hit, and let's just say it's hit 10 o'clock UTC, you would have 2 hours of that remaining day to sacrifice, and then another entire day UTC. So it will end on 00 UTC the following day after that target is hit.
All right. So what else is there to talk about? We have here the points maybe. Is it interesting to go into the points, or do you think everybody can just read that by themselves?
You can read that, but of course that day 1 to 5, that little graph on the right-hand side, you do have a multiplier coming in 1 to 5.
Yeah, we tried to keep it simple. The last thing we wanted to do with the point system is spend hours every day trying to explain the point system, okay? Again, if you overcomplicate something and then people are spending hours in there trying to understand how to maximize their points, and you're spending hours in there explaining it, it's not a good use of anyone's time. So we've made it pretty simple. You get a multiplier between day 1 to 5. You get a different multiplier between day 6 to 10 and day 11 and onwards. On top of that multiplier, there is a 5% MCR loyalty bonus. So anyone that has been in the community-driven pools that MCR facilitated, if they sacrifice from the same wallet, they will get an extra 5%.
But somehow this opens the question for me. I don't know if it's a stupid question, but is there a pool for the MCR 369 sacrifice?
No.
It would make so much sense, though.
There's no bigger pays better in the sacrifice there. It's just based on what day you come in and what multiplier you'll get with that. So if there was a bigger pot, if there was a bigger pool that got more, tokens for size, then yeah, it would make sense.
Community pools are actually very time consuming.
Oh my gosh.
To facilitate. And we've only done them where the mechanism behind it gives you motivation to do it, because to help smaller people. Okay. So we've tried to make this fair and equitable for everyone to get the best amount of points that they can. It doesn't matter whether you're a big guy or a small guy. Obviously a big guy is going to get more in the sense of because they've got more economic firepower, but the rate is the same. Okay. If you do it in the same time period, obviously there's an extra 5% for people who have believed in the community pools that we facilitated, and they'll get a reward for that. Having said that, we do have a pool open. So if people didn't do any community sacrifices in those pools, we have one open for free Pulse. The Telegram is free carpet ride. You can come and find us in our normal channels to get a link to there. And there's no minimum. So you take that information as you will, and then you can qualify for the 5%.
Yeah, Victor and Felix, those two guys had the first thing live on testnet, so we support those guys.
I think that was a great pro tip for only the people watching with HEX stream here, that if you sacrifice and for one of these pools, then you get a 5% more bonus on the MCR 369 token. Well, then we have the rules here as well. What are the most important rules that we have to discuss?
Do you want to do them, J Money?
Sure. So everything that we're taking is got to be Ethereum based, BNB, Smart Chain, Avalanche, or Phantom chains only. That's the only 4 chains that we're looking at grabbing any sacrifices from. Only tokens that will be listed on those tokens is what will be accepted. That should be released soon. Sacrifice must come from your wallet. So again, no exchanges. Don't sacrifice from coin swaps or crypto.com wallets, things like that. You need to go from a personal wallet that you control the keys to. Kind of the same rules that Richards has followed. We've kind of adopted the same thing. Coming down the line there, we will start the sacrifice at 00 UTC. So for those of you in the United States, that's actually the 16th in the late evening, right? So don't think, don't get confused there. So it will
made
be
that easy to remember, right? Because that's the same time that Hex does its calculation, correct?
That's right. That's right. So for me in the Pacific time zone, that's 5 p.m. on the 16th is when that's going to start. Like Ty said, or TD said a little bit ago, if we're in the middle of day 3 and we hit that target, day 3 will commence, and we will go to a full 24 hours from 0 UTC on the 4th day, in which it will close at the end of that day. So there will be time past the 1.369 million to get in, even if we've hit that mark. There's that, like that last 24-hour last minute sacrifices available. If you decide to do multiple sacrifices from the same wallet, your points will be calculated for each amount sacrificed based on the day, right? So if you sacrifice days 1 through 5, and then you decide to sacrifice the second amount on day 8, you're going to get calculated per entry, not one total for the wallet there. Any points awarded to the sacrifice not provided with any legal, equitable, or other rights, relations, Magic Carpet Ride, or any other company. So that's a description, disclaimer there. I don't know that I need to get into the disclaimers there. You can read those.
If you have any questions or comments on that, go to our website, review it, come into our Telegram, ask us questions. We're always available.
Yeah.
And here we also have the list of tokens so everybody knows what to use and what not to use. Let's go back to the homepage, because here you guys see all the links that you can click: Twitter, YouTube. We have Telegram, and Telegram for me is the best place to go, because there you can interact with the community, with the MCR369 community directly. If you have a question, most likely somebody will answer that right away. If not, somebody from the team will do it anyways. So I think that's the best place to go.
The last link there will go live. It's for our Git book. So that's going to be where all the documents and resources to try and like free up our time, and also people in different time zones around the world can get that information at their fingertips. So everything that we're doing for the different protocols, the sacrifice, all of that stuff will be in that Git book, which will go live soon. We're just proofreading it and signing off on it. Once that's done, it'll be in there, so people can go there and, consume that information at their leisure.
There's nothing yet, but it will come out really, really soon. All right, so for now, we talked about Stakehouse, we talked about 0x Bistro, we talked about the MCR369 token and the sacrifice, but I bet there are other important things that you also want to discuss, right?
There is one thing, because one of our loyal followers, Satan's Angel, asked a question about, you mentioned EES can't happen through the protocol. Could someone EES directly in the contract? No. The security is paramount. There is no function. It can't be circumvented, and there'll be no emergency end stake. So I just wanted to touch base on, because we sort of switched gears after we mentioned the receipt token. We only mentioned it. We didn't discuss the hows and whys, and went straight to Bistro, and we never came back to the receipt token. So if you put 100,000 units of HEX into a self-directed pool, you're going to get 100,000 units of a receipt token as your receipt for your entry in that pool. Okay. At that point, you can move them to a ledger, all that sort of good stuff. The reason we chose to go with a tokenized unit of accounting in the form of tokens as opposed to an NFT, it's because we realize in life, sometimes something unfortunate may happen. You may need to go to a funeral on the other side of the world, or maybe you have some health issues. There's all sorts of different reasons that you may need some financial assistance, and instead of emergency end staking like in HEX and potentially getting penalized hard, we like what Alex did, where you could sell a HSI and extract value. However, we wanted to go down the path of not having to do the all or nothing. So you either sell it or you don't sell it. So for that reason, having the individual one-to-one on the tokens means that if you needed to extract value, you could sell a percentage of your receipt token through the Bistro protocol. Okay, so you're not having to sell your whole bag. Alternatively, you could buy some through the Bistro and better your position in a particular pool or other pools. Someone maybe created a staking ladder and you're like, all right, well, I missed the entry of that one, but I really like that one. I'm going to try and find someone who wants to sell me some position in that pool. So we wanted to give people that flexibility that obviously we want to advocate everyone to just hold through, right? But we know that's in the real world, people are going to speculate, people are going to accumulate, and other people have the best intentions to hold right through, but something unfortunate happens. So we wanted to have that flexibility so they could actually extract some value and not have to stress about losing.
There's also another great thing about a movable asset. I don't know how many times we've seen on Twitter or in PulseChain or all over the place, Telegram, main chat, and all that. Compromised wallets. If you have a compromised wallet, take your receipt tokens, move them to a fresh wallet. That's one of the beauties of a HSI is makes things mobile. If you got into this like I did, I started a stake on a 12-word seed phrase wallet. And then I get into PulseChain main chat and everybody goes, no, you need a ledger, blah, 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 blah. This needs to have a 24-word seed phrase with a passphrase on it. I'm going, okay, I'll get it done. That stake is stuck there permanently, right? This is not the case here. I can compromise that wallet, any wallet that I have, and go take that financial horsepower, move it someplace else.
Yeah, as long as you do it quick enough.
Yep.
My favorite feature.
So with the receipt token, did I understand it correctly that every receipt token is specific to the stake that was made, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
The reason for that, we can't have a one-trick pony token because this isn't one pool that's just going on forever. This is thousands of pools. And because all of those pools are going to have different dynamics in the sense of the amount of HEX that gets pulled and the duration that it gets pulled for. So because of that, those dynamics, the token would be worth all different amounts, and it would just be super, like, it just wouldn't be fair. Okay, so people would game the system. So we have to have a unique receipt token for every self-directed pool, and that's why we'd be advocating don't go down liquidity providing. It makes no sense unless it's some gigantic pool, but we would still be advocating, hey, do this through the OTC. There's no slippage. The fee will be smaller. It's not going to affect the price of HEX. Okay, so I think it's positive, very positive.
I believe that an A-bit pool from a road trip 2.0 would have enough tokens in it to have its own liquidity pool. I believe that to be the case.
That would be my next question. Like, would it be possible for a token like this to have its own liquidity pool where people can just trade in
100%,
and out?
100%.
Well, it's a free market. People can do that.
Yep.
But like Hextrovert was saying, it probably makes more sense to use 0x Bistro in or to transfer that to somebody else, right?
True.
Yeah. But if you did have a big pool, someone could say, hey, this pool's worth doing a liquidity pool for. So it's not the direction we're taking, but it is a free market. People can do what they choose.
And I have not talked to KSB Line yet about the idea of doing a community pool when we are in 1 million pulse tour, but I for sure will bring it up, and I have the feeling people are going to be excited to join that
we
pool.
do have some ideas regarding that social aspect of what you're just discussing. At this time, we don't want to really delve into those ideas because, again, we just want to protect that IP, but between our front end and back end devs, we've got some pretty cool marketing ideas, and we're here for you guys. So anyone in the community, if they want help with their self-directed pool and some ideas, like we'll be there to help people see what you're doing, whether it's a charity or a tour. Maybe you want to do something for a sports team, whatever the case may be. We will do our best to be involved.
These are great ideas for charities, for sports teams. They could utilize this tool for their benefit. It's an amazing idea.
Yep.
So I have Hex Love here. He's saying, I like these guys. I'm excited about their new project. Steakhouse equals bullish for Hexicans. For sure,
Absolutely.
I'm 100% with you here.
Absolutely. That's what it's all about at the end of the day, right? Like there's going to be competition. There's going to be other protocols. There's other things that bring adoption to Hex. And this is just one more tool, right? Like we're all here to make Hex a better experience for everyone.
Yeah, and so we have started a movement. I'll put it in chat now. Just bear with me.
Yeah, no problem.
Don't spell it wrong.
And I see that there are not too many questions in the chat. And this always is a good sign because this means that people are listening really closely. But if you guys out there have a question right now, put it in the chat. We will address it right away. And Expert, what do you have for me?
Hex, I've just put the hashtag in there. We've done some thumbnails. We've got it in our promotional videos. So one of them is Hex Together. You know, we're all in this together. We're here for a rolling 15-year timeline. So we're going to be promoting Hex Together.
I don't see the hashtag yet, but Hex Together, I've already seen it somewhere posted, and maybe we can show it to the people.
Maybe I'm censored from talking in your chat. I don't know.
No, it's there.
It's there.
It's at
It's
the
like
bottom.
the last entry.
So the hashtag Hex Together, what was the idea behind that, and where would you like the people to use it?
The idea is we've always been about being inclusive from the get-go. Didn't want to ostracize people from the community, want to grow the community. And for that reason, when Richard Hart decided to do PulseChain and then people started to build on PulseChain, we decided to start interviewing some of the interesting products or projects that were coming to PulseChain. We didn't do them all. We just did ones that made sense, that we felt comfortable with. And so we've always been about being inclusive. And I think this message has that narrative that we are all in this together. We're here for a good time and a long time. And together we are more powerful. So why not Hex Together? These guys might have their own feelings on what that means. It could mean different things to different people.
You hit it right on the head.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, strength in numbers has always been something that people believe in. So Hex Together just kind of takes that concept.
So Hex Loves is saying another utility to diversify Hex. I'm 100% on your side here. Very, very bullish. Zen Knowledges ask when $7? Well, probably when we see 3 executive green candles on Zen, then we will be on $7 when it comes to Hex, I believe. That should be like around the corner then.
Oh my God.
Okay, is there anything that we have not touched on yet and that you guys definitely want to educate us? Tell us about the future of Magic Carpet Ride 369.
There is one thing you see a little, not so much an Easter egg. It's out there in the open. We keep saying at the end of all of the videos that we're doing. It's on our website, a couple different places, but we keep saying this is only the beginning. We have other things that we're working on. We're not stopping at Bistro. We're not stopping at Magic Carpet Ride 369 token or Steakhouse. There are other things in the works. But we don't want to put so much on our plate publicly where everybody says this is a little bit more than these guys could chew right now. They've bitten off a little too much. These products that we've mentioned today on your show, A-Bit, are our focus. They will be released in a timely fashion. And soon after that, you're going to see some pretty significant things. Other significant things that we're building will feed that MCR 369 token.
Great. And
there is something I would touch on, which we haven't really gone over. So in the ethos of Richard Hart, everything will be trustless, immutable, no admin keys, multiple audits. We have chosen... So we're speaking to the people in the Builders Guild to get their experiences. I have seen some of the experiences that some of those projects have had with different auditors. But we have engaged Coin Fabric, which did one of the audits for HEX. So we want them on our list. But we are obviously going to have another second high quality auditing company, purely because the better auditing companies do have a bit of a queue. And so we to the best of our ability, we don't want to get too delayed simply because we're waiting for an auditing company. So we're going to choose, one or two, or maybe there'll be three, but we'll choose two depending on their timeline. So what it looks like is once we finish it, we do private beta testing, and we're happy with that. It'll go to public beta testing. The community will get to test it. If there's anything that needs to be ironed out, at that point it gets ironed out, and then it goes to audit.
All right, that sounds very good. The sacrifice phase starts next week already, and until then, people can get informed on all you're doing. In the video description, you guys find the links that you need to know everything about Magic Carpet Ride 369.io. So please go there and do your own research, find out if this is the product for you. And it basically definitely feels like, for me, it's exciting to see new protocols launching that are building on top of HEX, that give us more utility with our HEX. I think you guys doing an amazing job. Thank you so much for what you're doing. Any last words before we end the stream?
Yeah, I've got a last word. We did choose an interesting date, the 17th. I think that's St. Patrick's Day. Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. And it just happened to fall the day before Sammy Chica, who's another well-known Hexican. She lives very close to me, and we've organised our third HEX meetup in Melbourne. So if you're an Aussie in Melbourne, March 18th, we do have a HEX meetup. You can see the details in the HEX Melbourne Telegram or on Sammy Chica's Twitter. So there is a meetup coming March 18th.
Awesome, that sounds great. I wish I would Aussie right now.
If the one thing I would like to lead with is thanks for having us on, A-Bit. I really appreciate it. And for any viewers that are watching this now live or in the future, and you followed us over from Magic Carpet Ride, there is no reason why A-Bit's channel should be at 2.2 thousand. Anybody that's watching this and came over from Magic Carpet Ride, click like, click subscribe. A-Bit's a valued member in this community. He's done a world tour. Get his subscribers up, please.
Thank you so much. And again, thank you so much for what you're doing for the ecosystem. I think you are heroes, more so than me, for sure, because you are really building protocols that we can make our fellow men financially free with. I think that's amazing. And also thank you for all of you guys being in the chat, engaging, liking, and subscribing. That really helps the channel. That helps to bring out the word. Now I will play the outro, and then we're out of here. See you tomorrow on my channel again, 7 p.m. ES time. And yeah, like Hexer was saying, peace. Bye.
Thanks, David.
Thank you.
And God only knows what great things we could manage under such conditions. We're becoming incredibly technologically powerful. And what would it be what would it be like if we became equally wise? Well, that would really be something. God only knows what we could manage in the next 20 years or the next 100 years, you know? We're running at 40%, most of us, you know, because we're half in and half out. And it's not surprising because life is difficult. It's like, well, what if you were 90% in? Or 95% in, or all in, because you're all in anyways, right? It's a life and death game. No one gets out of this. Everyone dies. You might as well commit yourself, and you might as well commit yourself to the highest good that you can attain, because why not? It'll imbue your life with meaning. It's hard, the responsibility's there, but all the meaning's in the responsibility, and that'll make your life better. It'll make your family's life better, and it should make your culture better. Maybe it make the world better. It's like, that'll justify your damn miserable existence at 3 o'clock in the morning when you're wondering what the hell you're doing here. And that's a good thing, because there's going to be days when you're aching and tired and sore, and there's people in your family that are sick, and you're cynical and bitter, and you need a reason to get up, and you think, yeah, well, a little more heaven and a little less hell maybe I can pull that off today and tomorrow and next week. And that's worth struggling forward for.